You ever have one of those Saturdays that just feel invincible? I'm talking sun, so bright you swear the sky is rooting for you. The air smelling like hickory and spice. Good friends cracking up over dumb jokes while the grill works its magic out back. Just about as close to perfect as it gets. That was my day, or so I thought. Right up until Karen stormed over with her two enforcers. Like she was leading the D-Day landing, but for HOA rules. By the end of it, my ribs weren't the only thing getting roasted. Karen's ego went up in smoke, and every single person in that backyard saw it happen. Let me back up a sec. It started that morning, nothing fancy. I'd invited a couple buddies, my cousin, even old Mr. Harris from next door, who brings his own hot sauce and pretends it's a secret recipe. We strung up some lights in the backyard, set out lawn chairs, threw on a little country music. The smell of barbecue just wrapped around the place, you know? It was honest-to-God Americana, the kind of scene you want to freeze and keep in a jar for rainy days. Apparently, that's the kind of happiness Karen can't stand. Now, Karen, well, if you know, you know. She used to be on the HOA board, got booted off last year, but she clings to that clipboard like a life vest and patrols the block with a look that could sour milk. My house. Yeah, right across from hers. Which is just my luck. By noon, laughter was bouncing off the fences, ribs were sizzling, and the only thing breaking the peace was someone's off-key attempt at Garth Brooks. And then, dead on 12:17, I checked the camera later. Karen comes strutting out her place. Sunglasses on, phone at the ready, lips tighter than a banker's handshake. She stalks over, flanked by these two big guys who looked like they'd been promised pizza, but ended up in the middle of a hostage situation. She didn't even wait for the gate. "This is a violation of HOA policy," she declared, waving her hand over my setup like she was Moses parting the Red Sea. Now, I've read the rules twice. Nowhere does it say you can't barbecue in your own backyard. But Karen operates on a whole different set of laws, mainly hers. When the rules don't work, she goes straight to intimidation. This time, she brought backup, her volunteer muscle. They stood behind her, clearly regretting whatever favor they owed. Karen jabbed at my grill, calling it a fire hazard, an eyesore, and, get this, a disruption to community aesthetic values. My friend stopped talking. The music trailed off. She looked so pleased, thinking she got us right where she wanted. And then she barked the order, "Take it down." That's when I dropped the bomb. "Okay, but just so you know, I already called the cops. You ever see a power trip hit a speed bump?" That was Karen. For a split second, her sunglasses dipped and her eyes went wide. Even her volunteers hesitated, glancing at each other like, wait, this wasn't in the script. But Karen, being Karen, doubled down. "Good," she snapped. "I'll explain it to them myself. You're violating at least 4 HOA rules, and I'm filing a formal complaint." A formal complaint over ribs and string lights. My buddy leaned over, whispered, "Is she for real?" Oh, she was real all right. She even tried quoting distance regulations. Open flames must be at least 10 feet from any structure. "It's 12, I told her. Measured yesterday." She ignored me, swinging her pointer finger at the string lights. "Unauthorized modifications," she hissed. "Disturb the uniform aesthetic." My other friend couldn't help it. We're not living in an art gallery. Karen spun around, laser-eyed. "If you don't live here, you don't speak." He took a bite of nachos and grinned. "Pretty sure I live here now." Even her muscles started to get nervous. One scratched his head and muttered, "Maybe we should wait for the cops," but Karen just raised her voice, barking at them to start dismantling the grill. They actually started to move, but my friends shot up like a pack of startled deer. "Hey, you break it, you buy it." That was the moment. Right there, the siren started wailing from down the street. Karen's face twitched. 2 patrol cars rolled up, lights flashing, all dramatic, like they were about to break up a mafia wedding instead of a barbecue. The officers got out, one older, one younger. The older guy, Officer Daniels, had the look of someone who'd rather be anywhere else, but he was professional. The younger one, Officer Blake, looked like he'd just realized he could have been a firefighter instead. Karen swooped on them like a hawk. "Officers, thank goodness you're here. This man is breaking multiple HOA regulations, risking the community's safety. She launched into this speech like she was at a Senate hearing. Daniels cut in. Cool as a cucumber. Ma'am, who called? I did. I stepped forward. Karen huffed. And I called after to report the violations. Officer Blake just nodded. Let's all slow down. What's really going on here? I kept it simple. We're having a small barbecue. Everything's legal. Karen showed up, claimed it was against HOA rules, then ordered her buddies to start dismantling my stuff. Daniels turned to Karen. You ordered them to destroy his property? Karen tried to play semantics. Not destroy, remove. As HOA enforcement, we have the authority. Daniels raised a hand. Ma'am, are you currently on the HOA board? For the first time, Karen hesitated. Well, no. Not technically. Unofficially. Voluntarily, she said, real proud of that word. Daniels looked at the two volunteers, who just shrugged. She asked us to help. Karen barked. You're protecting the neighborhood. Daniels sighed. Unless you're a current board member, you have zero authority. Even if you were, you can't touch someone's private property. That's vandalism. Karen's jaw dropped so hard I half expected it to bounce. Vandalism? Blake chimed in. Nothing illegal about a barbecue, ma'am. Karen sputtered. But he's violating HOA aesthetics. Daniels deadpanned. That's not a police matter, ma'am. I nearly lost it. My friends definitely did. One of them snorted so loud, he almost choked on a chip. Karen wasn't done. Oh, no. She tried again, turning it up to 11. Officers, this barbecue is disturbing the peace. The air quality. The children's naps. Officer Blake looked around. Ma'am, we see a normal backyard gathering. No noise, no chaos. Karen was getting desperate. She pointed at my grill. Do you smell that smoke? Daniels just said, Ma'am, that's what grills do. That's when Karen went personal. She spun, pointed at me. You are responsible for the chaos in this community. Disrespectful, inconsiderate, you constantly undermine the HOA. I just raised an eyebrow. For having a barbecue? For ignoring the standards that keep this place presentable, she hissed. Then she pulled this dramatic whisper, like she was revealing state secrets. He's been a problem since the day he moved in. Officer Daniels gave me a look. You had issues before? I shrugged. She's filed complaints, but nothing ever stuck. Once tried to report my welcome mat. Blake blinked. Your welcome mat? I grinned. She said the font was aggressive. Karen gasped. It said, go away in a hostile typeface. That just broke the dam. Everyone started laughing. Even Officer Blake was fighting a smile. Then Karen tried to rally her back up. Tell them how disruptive he is. The taller guy cleared his throat. We've never had a problem. The shorter one nodded. Honestly, Karen, we just came because you said it was an emergency. The look on Karen's face, pure betrayal. Daniel stepped in, voice firmer now. Ma'am, you need to stop giving orders. You are not in charge. That finally broke her. Her face went beet red, hands shaking. You don't understand, she whispered. This neighborhood will fall apart if I don't step in. Daniels just shook his head. Ma'am, the only thing falling apart right now is your argument. For a second, the backyard was silent. Karen looked around, searching for support. Her muscle wanted no part of it, inching away like they hoped to disappear. Officer Daniels took a step forward, not threatening, just steady. You have no authority to enforce HOA rules. You can't order people to remove property. You can't recruit others to intimidate neighbors. If you do it again, next time it's not just a warning, it's a citation, maybe charges. The color just drained from Karen's face. Charges? Against me? Yes, ma'am. Against you. For the first time all day, she was rattled. She turned to her volunteers, but they'd already backed off. Look, Karen, we thought it was a noise complaint, that's all. We didn't know you weren't even on the board anymore. She spun back to the officers. You're making a mistake. If the HOA board were here, they'd back me up. Daniels just grinned. Funny you say that. One of the board members called us back after you did. They said they've warned you, repeatedly, not to get involved in enforcement, and if you don't stop, you'll be barred from meetings altogether. That one landed hard. She looked like she'd been slapped with a cold fish. Officer Blake said, not unkindly, Maybe it's time to step back. Let the board handle it. Let her neighbors live. My friends all nodded. Karen looked around at the officers, her muscle, my friends, the grill still smoking behind me. She realized she had zero control left. Not even a scrap. She just whispered, "Fine." No threats, no grand exit. Just walked away, beaten, her power trip finally hitting a dead end. As she disappeared inside, Officer Daniels gave me a nod. "Enjoy your barbecue, sir." And you better believe we did. The ribs? Perfect. The mood? Electric. And Karen? Well, she finally learned the difference between neighborhood watch and neighborhood dictator. So tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you have handled Karen any differently? Do you think there's ever a good reason for a neighbor to act like a one-person SWAT team? Or is this just classic HOA overreach? Drop your wildest HOA story or opinion in the comments. Hit that like button if you've ever dealt with a Karen, and subscribe if you want to see what happens the next time someone tries to tell me how to live in my own backyard.